Alright, time to post videos of my Clash of Kings UK games. Forces of the Abyss versus Free Dwarves is my round 1. Let's go.
Hello there! I like to watch battle reports to get better at games. So I started making short, summarized battle reports that focus on learning points. So welcome to my channel, Newbie Dice. Do like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon if you enjoy my videos. Do consider speeding up this video with the YouTube settings to consume this content or other YouTube content in a fraction of the time.
Okay, finally I made the journey to travel all the way to Clash of Kings UK to compete over there, and it's a long trip for me because for those who don't know, I live in Singapore. It's a little country at the southern tip of Asia. So here's a globe map, and here's how I have to travel. Thankfully, there's a direct flight from our very own national carrier, Singapore Airlines. And you can see the trip is about 13 hours, 45 minutes. I'll just round it off to about 14 hours of plane travel, right? That's the plane being in the air, excluding the airport time, right? Getting in and out of the airports on both sides. So yes, it's a very, very long journey, and this trip also cost quite a bit of money. So initially there were quite a few of us Singaporeans who wanted to make the journey, ended up with only 3. So I'll talk more about that later on. So this event is 13 to 14 September 2025 in Nottingham, UK. So this is my travel buddy setting off together, because out of the 3 of us, right? One of us are traveling with the girlfriend. So that leaves the 2 of us to be travel buddies, traveling and rooming together. So this is us setting off from Singapore Changi Airport and onto our flight.
14 hours later.
And landed in Heathrow Airport, but that's not the end of it. We still have to take a train to St. Pancras train station, and that's about a 2 hours journey.
2 hours later.
So St. Pancras is also next to King's Cross. I do cater some time for us to have dinner as we wait for the train to Nottingham. So we had some time. We hopped over to platform 9 3/4, which was a little bit disappointing because if I remember correctly, there used to be a prop of a cut that's halfway through the wall, but they removed it, and you can see faded outlines of where the cut used to be. Now it's just one very blank plaque, very plain looking plaque, right? But nonetheless, travel onwards to Nottingham.
2 hours later.
And we're here in Nottingham, and it was rainy. This is a picture from the internet, but when we arrived it was rainy, and we arrived in Nottingham 11 plus at night. So we have traveled pretty much 24 hours to reach Nottingham, because 14 hours of flight, 2 hours, and all the waiting time in between. Yes, it's about 24 hours of traveling. So we rested up. Next morning we arrived Thursday night, and jet lag's a thing because we left Singapore in the morning, and then UK, the time is 7 hours behind Singapore. So when we landed in UK, it's in the afternoon, although we've traveled for 14 hours. So jet lag's a thing, or rather adjusting to the time difference, because we traveled for almost 24 hours, and because our flight was mostly through the daytime, we did not sleep much on the plane. But both of us slept like 4 to 6 hours, and then we woke up. So we had a morning walk around Nottingham, and yeah, the siege began Friday morning at Clash of Kings UK, because I laid siege to Nottingham Castle, and the only weapon I had with me was an umbrella. Right? So we went to the gates of Nottingham Castle. It wasn't open yet because we were quite early in the morning. Didn't spend money to go in because we had Warwick Castle trip planned after Clash, so that was the more spectacular castle, as Steve has alluded to. Steve Hugh I did get his advice on the travel itinerary. So we also made it to Mantic HQ at 12 noon because they told us not to be earlier than 12. James and I, my travel buddy, were the first two to reach Mantic HQ. And yep, pilgrimage to the HQ, I offered up the biggest model I have on a tray. That's my Bale model. So yeah, pilgrimage to the Holy Land. And we brought one country's worth of Mantic points to exchange for a bunch of models. And hey, you can exchange 50 points plus a £20 top up for Goblin Blaster Ram. So we bought some Goblin Blaster Ram and started sharing. And a bunch of people came trickling into Mantic throughout the afternoon. And that's Chris Thomas of the Mantic Universe podcast. Of course, there were a few other people, but we didn't take pictures. And in the late afternoon, we got some games in. I got a game in with Marcelo Rocco, who was a guest on my podcast before. That's Ray Shields, and my travel buddy James, fellow Singaporean. So this is one of the pictures taken from my game against Marcelo. But because the information of 4th edition is already trickling in and everyone's excited for 4th, so I just want to quickly get all these battle reports of Clash UK out because they are 3rd edition, they're gonna be expired soon. So yeah, and Team Singapore, we really wanted to form a team of 4, so that's our last team member, Jared, who came on Friday, who arrived on Friday. Okay, but we couldn't make 4, so we were asking around for a 4th player to join our team, and Ed Stevenson here agreed to join our team, so we're really thankful that we could make a complete team with Ed here. And yep, this is one of the pictures taken of the country representatives with Ronnie outside Nottingham High School, which is the venue of the tournament. So 194 players attended, 192 players finished. Jake fell sick after the first day, so he didn't compete in the second day. More pictures taken with Ronnie. And yeah, I wanted something to show the scale of how big this tournament is. 196 players. That's 100 odd tables, right? So there's a user, Richard Heath. He has a drone flying through the event. So he posted those videos on Facebook on the Kings of War Fanatics. So I'm just crediting him as I just played this video, this series of drone videos he posted of the event. So really massive place. That's one of 3 halls. So the drone's heading to the second hall. The second hall looks cooler, more rustic, more classic, but it's a smaller hall. All 6 of my games were in the main hall, the first hall that you saw, so I didn't get to experience the other halls. And on the drone's heading to the 3rd hall, which is the gym, the last 12 tables here. I'm enjoying Nottingham weather, although it can be rainy on certain days, but the temperature is a cool 12 to 18 degrees Celsius. Air conditioning temperature. So he has some drone shots of when the tournament is happening, so switching over to that. There we go. And in Singapore, we have our red and white jerseys to reflect the Singapore flag. You can see myself and my team members around. really cool. I haven't been to such a massive event before, so it's really quite spectacular. And I would say like it's a victim of its own success. It's so huge that I don't get to meet everybody there, right? That there are people that I probably know that I want to meet, but I just didn't have a chance to meet them or talk to them. Matt G being one. Matt G, I'm calling you out. We're supposed to say hi to each other, but he's playing and he's a TO as well, so he said he was really busy. Yeah, and I was quite surprised that a lot of people know me from my channel. I don't get that many views, just a couple of hundreds, so I'm pleasantly surprised that there are quite a lot of people who know me. Okay, let's move on. So I'm going to timestamp everything, so if you want to skip ahead to the battle, you can do so. But the next part, I'm going to talk about my hobby. So being quite a competitive gamer, I also do enjoy the hobby side of things because I don't know, I like to express some creativity. So for Sister of the Abyss, I made them a Persian themed. Of course, Persian with inverted commas is Hollywood, or rather games depiction of what Persian would be. And the theme or the inspirations for my army draws from Aladdin, the Disney animated movie in the 1993 or 4, as well as Prince of Persia, the series of video games, and the revived ones from Ubisoft, as well as 300, the movie from Zack Snyder. Okay, so these lower abyssals and flame bearers, they have the silver mask as per the 300 movie. So let me share some extra pictures, and that is the Cave of Wonders from Aladdin, and I bought this off eBay, $25 for the prop and $25 to ship it to Singapore, but I felt it was worth it. It came all purple and in those toy colors, but I layered the texture paint, sand texture paint all over it. Okay, yeah, and it's an actual toy from the 1990s. I think it's a bedside lamp, right? And yeah, the inspiration for my gargoyles, I wanted them to be like marble statues. I don't have a spray airbrush, so I can't do the vein effects that I see tutorials of online, where you pull a piece of wet wipe that's dried up, then it will expose some webbings, and then you use the airbrush spray the whites and the greens and the blacks, and then you have the vein effect. So I just use a traditional brush, and you can see hints of green in there. Okay, there's a Seductress is a box standard. Okay, my Abyssal Berserkers, I wanted to model after these sand monsters from the Prince of Persia game. Right, so this was the initial one. I layered the sand texture paint that I used for the basing, but I realized it covered a lot of details, so I didn't like it that much. So when I fielded more Berserkers, I just painted the rest sort of normally. Right, skin color with the turbans and all. So they're all having turbans made from plumber's tape. So plumber's tape is the white rubbery tape you put around pipes to stop the pipes from leaking. Then the thing about it is it sticks to itself, so I just do loops around the horns, and then it just wraps around itself. And then because of the rubbery texture nature of the tape, it gives the nice fabric kind of folds. So after that, I just dab a super glue at the end, then I prime and paint over it. These are the 300 masks I was talking about. Warlocks, one is standard, one I head swapped it with a normal lower abyssal head, and then I put turban. And Zazuzu is actually a Vanguard Flame Bearer on top of the Despoiler Champion, and then I use paper clips for the lightning effect. For my Abyssal Horseman, I didn't like the Mantic ones. I bought Soul Flayers to run as Abyssal Horseman, and I did this before STLs came out. So Cost quite a lot. Bought 2 regiment boxes just to field 1 regiment of horsemen. The most expensive unit I've fielded in terms of monetary cost. Alright, and Bill. I really like my Bill model because I modeled him after Jafar. And then because Bill does lightning bolts instead of fireball, so I did the lightning bolt conversions, which I'm really happy with. The OSL that I've done with just traditional brush. I don't have a spray paint, airbrush that is. So I just dry brushed the lighting effects. Yeah, here's a video of my display board. Of course, I didn't bring it to UK, it's too much. I did this back in Singapore, but before I added more berserkers into my army. So let's enjoy that.
Oh, I come from a land, from a faraway place, where the caravan camels roam. Where it's flat and immense and the heat is intense. It's barbaric, but hey, it's home. When the wind's from the east and the sun's from the west and the sand in the glass is right, come on down, stop on by, hop a carpet and fly to another Arabian night. Arabian nights like Arabian days, more often than not are hotter than hot in a lot of good ways. Arabian nights need Arabian moons. A fool off his guard could fall and fall hard out there on the dunes.
So these are tortured souls. I made them like genies, so you can see genie lamps that are 3D printed. They were coming out of it. Right.
Boy,
So this is what I brought to UK. And yeah, I brought this prop along. I didn't bring the whole display board, but I brought this along with me as well. So this is me displaying it after the first, what do you call it? The first round. Okay, and picture taken from the official Clash of Kings photography. And I did bring a portable speaker playing the soundtrack of Prince of Persia. I curated some songs to go into a playlist that goes with my army. So it includes a soundtrack from Prince of Persia, Arabian Nights that you heard from Aladdin, the animated movie, as well as from Prince of Persia, the movie. There is a movie, very B-grade movie, as well as anything else. I think that's all. That's all. But yeah, very thematic. I'm gonna play some of the music right now as we go through the rest of this battle report video. Of course, we haven't reached the battle report videos yet. Okay, so before we move on, I'm just gonna shout out to my local game store, Hammer House. They ship globally, so if it makes sense to you, you might want to shop with Hammer House. Oh, before that, I won an Outstanding Hobby Pin award for my army, so I'm very proud of it. Because I think of the lower layer levels is you get this Outstanding Hobby Pin. After that, a few of them wins Judge's Choice, and then there's a third, second, and first. So apart from being third, second, first, or Judge's Choice, the next level down is getting an Outstanding Hobby Pin, which is good enough by me because I'm not a great painter, but I do. I try to be creative, that is. Okay, now to the video.
In my opinion, the best game store in Singapore. They are beginner friendly with demo games, paint workshops, and overall a very casual gaming environment. They have the widest range of games and hobby supplies, including very obscure hobby brands and tools. They have separate levels for retail and gaming, so you can shop in peace or take part in the rowdy, fun atmosphere on the gaming level. Their website is always updated with new products added weekly. hammerhouse.com.sg. Check it out.
Alright, So taking Abyss was actually a last minute decision because I wanted to try to make Northern Alliance work. This is a very mixed bag list. It has a little bit of everything, some shooting, some healing. Do I have heal? Yeah, I think I have heal on Ice Queen. With Conjurer's Staff and Master of Ice, it gets to reroll 1 miss against a cold frostbound units. So it can sometimes trigger quite a bit of heal, especially on my Naiads. Quite a bit of shooting scattered everywhere. Ice Skin Hunters 1 unit, Pack Hunters 1 unit. Ice Elementals shoot, of course. Frostclaw Riders, I put the spear shooting attacks on them. Sarakina, the Wind Blast deals damage. So she's my only source of magic damage. So when I fight against stealthy armies, I get quite screwed. Because, you know, all my things suffer cover except Wind Blast, which doesn't have piercing. Yep. And the formation. And the riders shoot. The regiment shoot as well. So the plan for this list was usually the Naiads in the center, with Ice Elementals beside, and then Hearthguard on another side. And I tried to layer my forces in a way that the Naiads will never be double charged, and it can pretty much survive a single charge from anything in the game, right? And then forcing people to charge it. Okay, so of course Ice Elementals and Hearthguards can sometimes be charged, so I usually put Chef between Snow Foxes and 1 troop of the Half-Elf Berserkers. So that's my center block. And then I'll have the Horde of Frostclaw Riders on one side, the regiment on the other side, and then I have one. So usually the regiment is the weaker side, so I will put the troop of Berserkers, and then I still have my 2 regiments of the Bow People, which is the Ice Skin Hunters and Pack Hunters. So they either go here or on this side. So a lot hinges on the center strategy, and it's a very slow advance forwards because speed 5, speed 5, speed 6 shambling, none of them have Pathfinder. So it hinges on this slow block going forwards. If I force the people to engage the Ice Naiads, I will win. But if they dodge it till the late game, I would lose. If they dodge it until they can handle it, I would lose. And which is why I'll usually put the Ice Naiads in the center, because if it's not central, there's a high chance that the opponent can ignore it. Yeah, so when I put in the center, hopefully the opponent must deal with it, and that's what I want. If they don't double, as long as they don't allow double or flank charges into the Ice Naiads, it will probably survive. And I have a lot of healing going on with the regen, the Icy Blood, which is Life Leech 2 against frozen enemies. And because the Ice Elementals hang nearby, it usually confers the freezing aura. Okay, and then on top of that, you have the heal that rerolls 2 dice because Conjurer's Staff and Master of Ice. So I have healed heavily wounded Ice Naiads back to full very easily. Yep, but after playing quite a few games with it, I have fought the last round, I fought an opponent that he could outmaneuver and just dance around that center block, right, and not deal with it, and then he won the game because of it. I was like, that feels very helpless that I'm moving this slow block. And of course, I try to have speed units to shore things up, which is the 2 Frostclaw Riders, 1 on each side. Ironically, the Frostclaw Riders charged into to the center because there was a juicy flank of Impalers, Twilight King Impalers, and I took it out. But that left my Frostclaw that was on the side, right, protecting the block, right, in the center. And then this part became very slow and vulnerable to enemy. But anyway, I didn't take this list. About 2 or 3 weeks before flying to UK, in Singapore, we held a 6 or 8 people tournament, 6-man or 8-man tournament. And then I was like, screw it, let me take Abyss to the tournament, and then I have 3 rounds to practice, and then I had a few more games, maybe 3 more games after that to Clash of Kings UK. So this is the Abyss list that I took in the end. And I've played Abyss in the past. I've picked it up on and off, so I'm not completely new to it. But I only have some practice with this list. I think I did fairly okay throughout the tournament, but I definitely would have done better with more practice. But let's talk about it. Flame Bearers, 2 regiments. Gargoyles, 2. Berserkers, 1 regiment and 3 hordes. Okay, the regiment has, all of them has Sacrificial Imp. The regiment has a Mace of Crushing, which I pretty much forget to use throughout the whole tournament, and because it's from the last 5 points of the list as well. Brew of Sharpness, Berserker Horde. This is like the biggest hammer of the army. One with Drunken Ram. If I had 20 extra points, I would have wanted Strength instead, because this Drunken Ram units often gets either hindered or it's a counter charge, so it doesn't have TC. So Strength would have been much better, but I just didn't have the points. The last unit with J-Boots. I got a Regiment of Horsemen with Blood of the Old King to benefit from that 15-point item. Seductress with Gnome Glass Shield. 1 Warlock with Bane Chan. Zazuzu, which also has Bane Chan. So 2 Bane Chan sources in the list, which I felt was pretty useful because the Berserkers are usually only crushing Strength 1. And Manifestation of Bale. If I would be like hardcore competitive gamer, I think I would take more Berserkers. To be honest, they're a good unit. Maybe slightly overtuned, but definitely the best unit in the faction of Abyss. Right? Yeah, but in the end, I have some beautiful models done. I don't want to bring an army of all Berserkers. It will be a boring to look at. So I like my Abyssal Horseman unit I want to bring. Bale is very expensive, so I often debated upon why not drop Bale for another horde of Berserkers, because costs around there. But I really like my Bale model, and so, which is also why I lean into this a bit of hybrid shooting element, because Zazu and Bale has lightning bolt 15, and then I have 20 shots from Flame Bearers. I do have a good number of shots, also 5 shots from this Warlock who gets to shoot every once in a while. Yep, so 13 units, 12 of them score because the Seductress doesn't score. Let's look at my first round enemy. So I fought a lot of people across the continent of West Europe, and specifically Western Europe. My first opponent, Bruno, is from France. So this is his free dwarves list. 2 levy with throwing mastiffs, 1 troop and 2 regiments of Brock Riders, and they are very scary. 1 with sharpness, 1 with strength. They are the free dwarf variant, which means they come with Pathfinder and not the Vengeance. Okay, 2 hordes of Stoneclaw Riders without shooting attacks, but they are very nimble, so the army is fairly fast with speed 8 and speed 10 elements. 4 troops of Massive Hunting Packs with throwing mastiffs, 1 Pack Master who always gets to throw dogs basically. It's very elect, so the defense 4, it's pretty much a Brock hero but on a large cavalry base. And 2 of heroes on large beasts, 15 units, 14 of them scoring. That's my opponent over there, Bruno, and let's kick things off with the game. First scenario is hold the line, and his Dwarf Levy does have Scout, so he moved them forwards. I think I won the sides, so I chose this side. Can't be completely confident about that. Okay, but I won initiative for sure. I was deciding whether to go first. And turns out he moved this levy unit within charge range of my Berserkers. And that is the sharpness unit. So even hindered, it is from 3s hitting on 4s. Okay, and Bale is there too. So I could double charge, which gives me a good chance to kill. So that's... I took the first turn because of that. Okay, so you see the tokens. These tokens will mark out the 3 zones for hold the line. So I just draw it out for you guys to see, and I labeled all the terrain and units in this picture. If you want a closer look, you can always pause the video. If not, I'll move on. Oh, there's no groany here. This is just undeleted stuff from my previous slides. Okay, let's move on. Some pictures of my opponent's beautiful army before we start off. Yep. Okay, so I won sides. So not only is this a sharpness unit, I also got Bane Chant off. So they are hitting on 4s and wounding on 2s. That's an average of 15 hits and about 12 wounds just based on themselves. And Bale would contribute brutal even if it's hitting on 4s because of the spears, but still hitting on 4s, wounding on 2s with vicious and brutal. So even if the thing about Berserkers is they're very swingy, right? Hitting on 4s can be very swingy. The average is 15 hits, but you can go way over or go way under the average very easily. So I think the build is, I think the math is very, very highly in the favor of killing it outright. Okay, and then another lucky break for me, there was this one of the Massive Pack out here that's non-inspired. So the Azul did Lightning Bolt. So top of 1, my Flame Barrels can't shoot. They tread 23 inches. And which is the interesting thing about my list is that sometimes I want to go second, especially because of the Flame Barrels. They get to shoot on the bottom of 1. I get to decide on scenario. I have these fast, nimble elements to decide where to go to try to score the game at the end of the bottom of 6 or bottom of 7. But because of that exposed first turn charge, I took the first turn. Okay, then because of the speed 10, my opponent dropped these 2 units last. So he decided to place it here. He was very light on this flank. So I had to be KG here. And because of the 2 hordes that's deployed here, I shifted this 9 inches, nimble, right? Turn, go up and turn to face the front, clipping the forest. I can see both sides here and here. Of course, this is a big blocking terrain that blocks my view quite a bit. Okay, so my opponent moves up. So he moves up quite aggressively. Troop of Brocs here and the Dwarf Lord on Beast here, screening 1 unit of the birds, the other units of birds pretty far behind. Okay, so this over here, the second unit of Levy charged the Berserkers, I think. And then there's a Packmaster here, so the Packmaster would keep shooting its shooting attack. Okay, I think I was sure to keep out of 18 inches of the Mastiff so that I don't get dogs thrown at me before I even get to shoot, because I should threaten 23, he threatens 18, right? So I don't want to be within 18, so that when he moves forward, next turn I can just move up and shoot. Okay, so let's see. Top of 2, what did I do? Let's talk about the left first. He placed a Dwarf Brock troop as screen. So I was like, okay, I'll take that. And to show up the left side, the unit that repositioned into the forest has now charged out. That is the unit that killed the Brocs, because there is the fence over here. I don't want to be hindered going into it. And I'm not sure if I could have fit 2 units as well. I might not, because of the table edge and the Brock lot here, not the Brock, the Dwarf's lot here, over here. So I might not fit 2 units. So I did this thing that I charged and then I killed it. I backed up and I thought I did a smart thing, because the birds are very big footprint, 150 by 100. So by layering my units like this, and like this, the birds couldn't charge the troop here. The birds couldn't charge this unit as well. And I think if it charged this unit in front, it might be hindered by clipping into this fence. Okay, if he, because it's 25 mils, 30 mils wider than me, so it could clip into the fence. If he double charges with the Dwarf Lord, is quite high chance of clipping into the fence. And my positioning here between the blocking terrain and the table edge, I think he can't fit 2 hordes into me. So I was feeling pretty good about this aspect. Okay. Regarding the center, which is a big headache for me, the Brocs are murder machines. So I just on top of 2 started sacrificing my dual gargoyles to block the way. And the remaining of my shooting went into this Mastiff pack. It did take 9 wounds, but I rolled either double ones or very poorly on the nerf roll, and I did not take out that unit. Double ones for sure, because 11 would be a waiver and it wasn't even wavered. Okay, over on the right side, I destroyed the second spear levy basically. I think I casted Benchan again. Either that or I tried to shoot 5 attacks at the Packmaster, which isn't easy because mine is a normal shooting attack, so I suffer the individual penalty and cover penalty, so I'll be hitting on 6s. Okay, horsemen, where were they? So the horsemen are here to babysit the flame bearers. They are less mobile and slower than the berserkers, so it tends to stay more centrally compared to the berserkers. Okay, so layered my stuff. The problem is I was hoping to be able to get to the Berserker Brock Riders first, but because of the 3 Mastiff screen, it is a bit of a challenge. Mastiffs does have an incredibly high nerf. I think it's 11-13 for being a chaff unit. And yeah, the first round of shooting trying to peel off the chaff didn't go very well. Right, so I've got a bit of a time bomb ticking over here. So next, my opponent didn't see any good charges with the birds, so he decided to reposition them instead. They are speed 10 fly nimble, so this unit flew 10 and faced this way, clipping the forest and look and threaten my flame bearers. The other unit started to fly around the back of his lanes. Okay, so that's what he did. 1 into the forest and 1 into, also it's here rather than this part. This part was where my regiment goes later to see through the forest. Okay, and the other unit starting to go around. Okay, both units of gargoyles down, that's to be expected. But the guy that the mastiff that I double one, he charged and ground the flame bearers. Or rather disorder them so that they can't shoot. Okay, so what did I do here? Oh, one thing I wanted to say also. Because the dwarf levy charged me, I will be counter charging, hitting on trees, and then with Benchan support, I was like, there's a good chance I can just kill it without Bill helping. So Bill flew 20. This blocking terrain proved to be quite a challenge for both me and him, because it restricts exactly where my Bill can land and see, right? Because if there's no blocking here, I could land here and I can still see a bunch. Or rather, I could land somewhere more central rather than more towards the rear of his army. Okay. So what this build maneuver did was it forces 3 units to turn around and face it. The 2 units of Brocs, as well as this Severy hero here. Okay, but my gargoyles went down, so I'm feeling quite vulnerable. Okay. One thing I forgot to mention, when I charged this unit into the Brock troop, and then there's a dwarf lord here, right? I charged the seductress into it. I dealt exactly 1 wound, so that would ground him, disorder him, so he can't move through my seductress, so he has to engage the seductress. Having lost his TC against my gnome shield, so he would be wounding on 5s. Oh, I don't remember. I think he did 1 wound. See, yeah, I see this token. He did 1 wound, but I easily held my position. Okay, so this birds also threaten 20, so they might be able to charge Bill. So my Bill, like, get out of there, man. And the thing about this blocking terrain is it's quite wide. I was facing here, right? I couldn't move 10 past the building. Okay. So I wanted to turn to face this way, move 10, and turn to face this way to threaten his stuff, right? And I forgot. Oh no, I think what happened is if I land here is within charge range of this all this, so I didn't want that. So I decided to start to fly. I'm like, okay, let me do a 2-turn detour. My sharpness berserkers is coming towards the center to aid the center. So I was a bit worried because I have a Abyssal Warlock to face down against the Packmaster. With his shooting always hitting on force, then in terrains doesn't work for me. And on the contrary, when I shoot at him because of the individual penalty, and if I shuffle in the forest, I'll suffer cover penalty as well. And him being an individual, he might easily keep dancing around me, right? Keep cutting out my front arc. And if he keeps doing that and keeps shooting, he's hitting on 4s, I'm hitting on 6s, I would lose this battle. So that's why Bale turned around also sort of to babysit. Of course, also threaten, but it also depends on where this guy goes. So his smart play would be probably to get out of the forest, which is probably what he did. Yep, get out of the forest. Sorry, there's some blurry pictures in this tournament because we are running on clock and it's only 1 hour long per player, including deployment time. So sometimes I'm in a hurry to take the picture. I didn't fully focus before I start pulling the camera away, so blurry like that. I think we can still make out most of the things that happen. Okay, let me rewind. So with this Frostclaw, or rather Raven Riders, threatening my Flame Bearers, I charged my Seductress into the rear because it's an individual. Turn around and charge. It did lose its flying, but just turn around, see the birds. Within 1 pivot, I can definitely get there. I did deal wounds, and I was like, yes, this ordered lose your Thunderous. And I thought it lose its flying, it would be hindered from the forest as well, but the unit does have Pathfinder, so it did not matter. So 20 units, 20 attacks on trees and trees, even without Thunderous, I think he can still kill quite well. And as top of that, my things are a little bit wounded. Okay, so what happened here? Let's talk about this. So the Seductress flew and charged here, and then this Horde charged in, right? So because of the position near the building is a bit awkward, I can't double charge. Okay, what I could do was to get a flank charge, position myself for a flank charge. So I think that's what I tried to do. So this unit trying to come around the flank, it couldn't step into the forest with 1 9-inch movement. If not, I would have sent the Horde that way. So only the regiment could do it. So if the Horde was not to step in the forest, it's facing here, and the birds fly off, I'll be staring at the forest. So I didn't want that. Okay, so what my opponent did, really smart move. I think this is after he moved his Lord already. So the Lord was here. He said, okay, your Seductress not charging me now. There's this obscure rule, the ensnaring unit, when it deals damage, melee damage to a nimble unit, that unit loses nimble, even if it's a ground unit. Okay, he says, okay, your Seductress is not charging me anymore. I didn't lose my nimble. So what he did was he did an L-shaped backup to be standing next to the building. In that way, I cannot get double charges on him with my 2 Hordes. So this Dwarf Lord proved to be able to tie me down for quite a long time because I have no Benchan over here as well. So I'm wounding on 5s, and then Drunken Ram would have helped if I was not standing on this bloody fence. Okay, so so over here you can see that the birds did charge and kill the Flame Bearers. I do have my regiment overlooking it, so it had to turn around and look at the regiment. So I singularly charged the Dwarf Lord somewhere over here. What else? Oh no, this is the opponent's turn. So what else is there? Why didn't... Okay, because these guys turn around, right? And then I move back so the Berserkers couldn't charge. So now the Berserkers are back to facing forwards. Okay, so I bought time for myself. Okay. So top of 4. Let's see. That's my opponent's. No, that's my turn. Okay. So Bale did over 2 rounds. Came here and came here. And I don't want to be charged by the Brock Riders. So I just stayed here out of line of sight, I think. Either that or cannot be charged. I think out of line of sight. Okay. Or... not out of line of sight, but because I offered up Zazu as a sacrificial piece and this window is not big enough to fit the Brock. So it doesn't have nimble, so it can only charge this way, which is nothing. So you charge my Zazu or nothing because it can't get around to charge Bale. Okay, he did. Forgot when did this happen, but the Dwarf Lord did charge the Flame Barrel, so my shooting is getting crippled at the moment. One Flame Barrel down, the other one is injured. Zazu is being offered as a sacrifice. Okay. Yeah, let's see what I did. Oh, 4. Okay, so the other spare unit started to look through this channel to sort of threaten this Brock, this Sharpness Brock, and this Mastiff Pack. Okay. Bottom of 4. Bottom. He's the bottom player, right? Yeah. Let's see. What happened? Of 4, I charged the birds. They were heavily wounded but didn't die. 11 wounds. I could have sneaked this. I probably have sneaked it because on 11 wounds, even a 3 would have wavered. It could be wavered. It could be wavered and it did nothing, but I got reared by the Severi. So that would kill the regiment. Okay. So how are things shaping up? My stuff are all on the side, so my goal now is to score the 2 sides. This is worth 2 VP. This side is worth 2 VP. The center is worth 3 VP. So if I score both sides, I get 4. So even if he wins the center, I'll win the game. So that's the fun part about hold the line if you hold the 2 sides. So my center is losing, especially is because of the 2 regiment of Brocks scaring me away, and then the 2 heroes wrecking the flame bearers, and then even these birds get to come to the center. Okay, his other unit has flown another 20 and came to suddenly show up the right side. Okay, so what they do? I put Bale to block line of sight because they're both height 4. Can't see the Abyssal Horseman. The sharpness. So I offered Zazu, he charged the Zazu, and then this is a sharpness. What do you call it? Sharpness Berserker. So that one rounded the Rock Riders, and I see that it's already partially wounded, so not within the realm of impossibility. So Bale blocks. Yeah, and I think the Warlock did spend some time shooting at this Packmaster. He did take some wounds and he got wavered at least once, maybe twice, by the Warlock's shooting. Okay. Here, this unit continued to shuffle, which on hindsight, maybe I should have just ran around. Okay, 2 possible outcomes. I bear down the flank of the Dwarf Lord, which makes it die faster, or I threaten this unit over here. This is the sharpness unit, so it's gonna delete me when it touches me. Okay. So bottom of 5, what happened? Okay, so what mistake I made, and it's a mistake that could be avoided, is that this Dwarf Lord can see the rear of this this Bale. And I could have closed the channel by having my units tighter, or having this Abyssal Horseman forwards, because it's not flying, right? So if the Abyssal Horseman is forward, there's no 50mm gap to fit through. Even if it fits through, it gets 1 turn, 2 turn, it's still possible. So I should just create a gap not big enough to fit through. Okay, so yeah, my Bale got eaten alive, man. Okay, and then he still has these 2 elements here facing down on this sharpness unit. Dwarf Lord still holding on. Okay, so I didn't take the top of 6 picture, so let me take the bottom of 6 picture. I did run out of time after the 6th turn. Okay, so what I did was I moved the sharpness unit to here, so I have 6 unit strength here, 3 and 3. 3, 3. I'm at 7 currently because the warlock is there. Okay, so it's 7, but this warlock is a sacrificial piece. I charged the frost, the riders, hindered, hoping to deal 1 wound to ground it, and I did deal 1 wound to ground it, which I'm quite happy with. So I'm 6 unit strength, possible 7 against his 4, right? 3 here and 1 here. And by grounding the birds, he couldn't charge any of my big units, so no chance of taking it off. Okay. Over a total of 6, I finally killed the Dwarf Lord. So this unit didn't manage to get into combat at all. But same could be said for his sharpness Brox. It didn't get into combat at all the whole game. Okay, so bottom of 6. He was on the losing end because this is 6 unit strength, this is 6 unit strength, 7 if I include the Warlock. So the Brock Lord died. Not Brock Lord, Dwarf Lord died. This is 3 unit strength, 1, 1, so it's 5 against 6. Okay. Here is 6 against 4, so I win both sides. So his last play was to hope for turn 7. I have no more time to play my turn 7. He will double charge this unit, or if he could see the flank and charge the flank, that would be a more assured kill. I'm not sure if he is in the flank. So he needs to charge and kill off one of these units, leaving Severi behind to hold the center for 3. And if he kills, it will be 4 unit strength against 3, and he will win the center and one side. Okay, so he shifted for the next turn 7 charge and rode and did not get turn 7. So I literally won because I had no turn 7. Of course, it's still a bit dependent on his rolls whether he gets to route the unit. But that's the sharpness Brox that has Pathfinder, so there's a good chance he will. Alright, so that was my first round. Quite a tense game. Yeah. And some takeaways. I felt that the Levy, I suppose it to a turn 1 charge, he also mentioned that it was a mistake. That was the flank that you're about to lose anyway. You only put 2 Levies there. That's obviously the flank that you're not going to win the battle against. So if you already decided that's the flank that's not going to win, you can be cagey about it, dance back and forth, so that will keep the opponent's forces as occupied as long as possible. Yep, so for me, I should have guarded against the nimble flyers. So if I rewind, over here, instead of doing this triple stack, right, I could have just did a double stack, right? I could have brought this horde up forwards here, and then this regiment could have stayed back to defend against the jump over, I guess. Or I could, the horde here, and I could have the regiment here. Whatever it is, I could have tilted to face down this way. Right, and that is something I should have done. Alright, let's talk about next part. Yeah, blocking terrain and table edges were very cleverly used this game, especially on the left side of the table. Okay, I used the table edge to block charges and double charges. He also used the blocking terrain, the building next to the Dwarf Lord, to block me from double charging him, so the Dwarf Lord lasted much longer than it would normally have if he was being set up to be double charged and whatnot later on. Okay, and I did set up to flank him, but then he did a nimble back pedal to keep both units in the front, and then because of the building beside, I could only charge 1 unit in. Again, this D is not supposed to be there. So I placed my fast unit, that berserker unit that I repositioned into the forest over here. The unit that came here, and then eventually charged here. Why I moved into this forest was here, so that I can commit to both sides. I can choose to either charge this side or this side. So in the end, I charged the side to win the side battle. Okay. So for both me and my opponent, if we don't have good charges, just position for a better next turn. So that's true for both his stone claws, flying elsewhere to find better, juicier charges. For my build as well, when I flew behind the building, faced down his 2 regiments of Brox, it turned to face me and I was like, okay, my job is complete. if I charge any of them, I'll just get deleted, but I just fly away, do something else, and then he has to spend one turn to turn and face the front again. Okay, and one thing I felt was a little bit wasted was my Flame Bearer unit did not score at all. If he could have stepped into a zone somewhere in the late game. So if even he planned this, right, if this was in the zone, this is 2 unit strength versus Severis 1, so he would still lose if he charged and killed this unit. Okay, but of course, Severi could have been positioned to face off against the Flame Bearers. Whichever it is, I think it was also blocked by this Dwarf Lord earlier on. But if I had planned ahead and positioned it in a way that next turn it could move on the double into the zone, that would have been helpful. Because based on this angle, I'm not sure. It's quite lateral, so I'm not sure if I march 10 inches, will be able to get into the center scoring zone. Yeah, I should have done it by turn 6 or turn 7. And I didn't do it turn 6, and I didn't get turn 7. I think, oh, I backed out even. Okay. So, yep, that is all for my battle report. I think it's quite a long one. I'll look at the time later. But let's end off with shout out to my patron, Anonymous. And if you enjoyed my battle reports, you can watch another video. Like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. I do have a podcast, although the last episode has been a month or 2 ago. Yeah, if you'd like to support, my mission is to bring educational video content and podcast content to help people improve at the game, because I myself love to watch battle reports to get better at the game. So I decided to do it so that I can help others to get better at the game by watching battle reports and learning from them. Okay, and yep, that's the first round. So the next few rounds are coming up. I am quite busy back at work because of that. Took a 1 week plus holiday in UK on top of Clash of Kings. We went for more sightseeing after the tournament, which I would share with you closer to round 5. Yeah, so I'm a bit caught up with quite a lot of work and life stuff, but I hope to churn out these games of my Clash of Kings run in UK before 4th edition drops, hopefully, because yeah, once 4th edition drop, I think the interest would wane quite a bit. So see you in the next one.